Just first of all, how was your experience of being captain in Italy last week?
Yeah, it was a pretty cool experience. It's one that I'll never forget. It was incredible, really. Very emotional. I was probably expected it to be that way, but it was great. Look, I think if you look at on the field, I was very lucky to have some really experienced guys around me. Obviously, we had a few thunderbolts. Like Steve said, it wasn't perfect by any means last weekend, and I think the thing that pleased me the most was how engaged the rest of the squad were, even the younger players and first caps. Really in huddles, post conceding a try, post penalty, how engaged people were, and it made my life very easy.
If I could ask both of you, Jamie first, then Steve, the press room's a bit busier this week. It's England-Wales week. What is the difference?
You just know when it's England-Wales. We turned up to Pennyhill, we got back here. You know, as soon as the game finished on Saturday, there's a very different feel. There's a huge amount of excitement. I mean, I don't need to talk to you about the history of the game. It means a lot to the people in this squad. It means a lot to rugby fans in England, and you know, we're very excited to be back at Twickenham playing Wales. It's a very, very exciting week.
I echo Jamie's sentiment there, the history of this fixture, and I think what we're looking forward to is the next step in that history, which will be this weekend. I think you look at the Wales team's good team, made a number of changes, but you saw from the second half performance they had last week, you saw what a good side they are. So it's an exciting game to look forward to.
Steve, where are you looking specifically for the team to kick on from their performance last week?
Well, I think we discussed post the game, particularly a lot of conversation around the defence. And I thought, again, if I'd use that phrase, that promising start, I think that's what it was. I think you saw a commitment from the players to do things differently in basically 3 training sessions. We've had 2 more training sessions this week, and I said there were areas that we'd attend to and there's areas we need to improve upon, and that's what we've gone and done this week.
And sorry, last one from me. How do you analyse an extraordinary game like the one Wales played last week?
Yeah, I think we'd certainly expect that with the Wales performance in that second half, we expect them to be delivering that standard. And I think at the start of a tournament, things like that can happen. At the start of a tournament, there are mistakes. You saw in our game, there was mistakes in our game that through the game, the team looked better and better, looked more and more cohesive. I think things like that can happen. So we expect the very, very best version of a very good Welsh team.
Steve, hi. Was any consideration given to standing Fair Boso down for this game, given his background with Wales?
Not from my point of view. I thought he came on last weekend in a few minutes, the last 10 minutes of the game. I thought he did really well in that time, and he has been incredibly such a calm, composed, mature character. I'm sure Jamie could add more in that regard. He's trained super well. He doesn't see in the little time I've known him, he doesn't seem to get phased, and so I only have good things to say about the man.
Jamie, what have you seen in him that suggests he's ready for this occasion?
Well, first and foremost, through his performances, I've been so impressed with everyone that's come into the squad. All the guys for the first time. Manny in particular is a very confident guy. He understands the system. I think probably our defensive system's one that's pretty similar to Exeter, which obviously is beneficial in that. But you know, like Steve said, he isn't fazed by anything. He relishes the big occasion. He's very excited this week in particular. I know that, and you know, I think the way that he's been fitting into the team is credit to him and credit to all the hard work that he's done.
And selecting him again is putting into practice what you're saying about not concerning yourselves with outside noise, isn't it? Like, you know, things that happen, things you can't control. Obviously, you can control selection, and you've been consistent with that by retaining him in the squad.
We talk a lot about the squad with the squad around consistency. And consistency each day in terms of the way we approach each day, trying to get that little bit better each day, trying to ensure that we learn in every opportunity. And I think the players coming into the squad have adapted really well. I think the the senior players, the players with more experience, have got to take enormous credit in how they've welcomed those players in. And as we look here towards Twickenham on Saturday, I think the senior guys have spent a good amount of time talking to the younger players about what an incredible place Twickenham is, and what an incredible stadium it is, what an incredible atmosphere it is, and already trying to get the players used to what to expect on Saturday.
And just both of you, that's okay. Obviously, the first time in a long time it's been an unchanged starting 15. How important was it from both of your perspectives that the new guys who had an opportunity last week, obviously, of course, you'd select the best lineup, but how big will it be for those guys that they get another opportunity to go again? Obviously, when people are starting out their Test careers, the more opportunities they can have quickly, the more chance, I suppose, they have of getting comfortable at the level.
It's probably one. Wasn't there a number of bench appearances at the start of your career to build that?
Yeah, I've spent some time on the bench. Yeah, just a little bit. Thanks, Steve. Cheers, mate. Nice reminder that. It's a big week, though, guys. It's a big week. No, I think there's a huge excitement around the squad as a whole in terms of building on the performances. Like, we've said it a million times since Saturday. It wasn't exactly where we wanted it to be, but the courage and the endeavour to try and do things a little bit differently, to try and play at a higher intensity was there. So I think, like, naturally as a player, you just want to go into the next thing. And Steve will probably back me up here. He's been having to pull us back all week because it's England-Wales. We're back at Twickenham for the first time. There's a huge amount of excitement. And for those young guys coming in for their first caps, I think first and foremost, they deserve their selection because they were brilliant in terms of what they did. Ethan and Fraser in starting the game and the rest of the guys off the bench really added. So I guess that's hopefully answers your question in that everyone wants to put their hand up. The guys that have come back in outside of the 23 have come back in and really added, and we really want to try and build on the foundations that we laid in Rome.
Jamie, just to continue on that with the uncapped players, what were your thoughts on essentially how you looking to bring them in? Did you have a quiet word with them ahead of the game? And is there anything that you learned in yourself as that was your first go as England captain?
So first and foremost, I was pretty open in terms of the sort of environment that we wanted to create was one that wasn't overly daunting. We wanted people to come in and feel like they could be themselves and that they were there for a reason, given the performances that they had over the season or the previous 2 seasons. And again, that really impressed me how those guys came in and embraced that. And I had a quiet word with everyone that was starting first time. I think my message to them was to try and embrace and soak in the atmosphere pre-game because it goes like that. And I found that in myself as well at the weekend. But I think you could see it in terms of how much it meant to those guys, how much emotion that it brought to them, and how happy they were after the game. And that for me is everything that playing for England should be about.
Absolutely. And with the you're going into your second game now as captain. What was maybe your main on-field takeaway that you learned about yourself as a leader of the England team?
I learned a lot. I think probably the thing that I need to make sure I keep doing is using the guys around me. I'm so lucky and blessed to have the likes of Ellis Genge, Maro Itoje, George Ford running the team. Guys are really trying to put their hands up, and outside of that, I've been really impressed with some of the other guys who maybe haven't been as vocal previously. Sam Underhill in particular, Henry Slade have really stepped up into leadership positions, and I'd be stupid not to keep picking their brains and using them, especially on the field.
Okay, any more questions? Thanks very much, everyone.
Thank you.